Happy Friday. We got 15 series going this Friday, kicking off the weekend with following up on that loaded 4th of July slate. Hope you had a great holiday. No hangover here. That's right. We're back locked and loaded. Hopefully getting you some baseball winners today. How do we make money betting this Friday slate? That's what you're here to find out. Dan Alexander here, joined by Bryan, Leonard, and Tokyo Brandon. And when you're talking about MLB betting and really betting as a whole as it's concerned for you, Bry, man, it has been great as of late. And for TB on the diamond, two of the best guys to get you ready to go here for the weekend. So I say let's get right into it with the man who is waking up in the middle of the night to hopefully get you guys some winners. That's our guy, Tokyo Brandon. TB, it's your first time here with the official 11 a.m. Eastern start, so I know you're happy about that compared to the 2 p.m. middle of the night wake-up calls for you. You want to talk this Astros and Twins game. Man, I'll tell you what, the 10-game road trip has been very kind here to the Astros. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 5 out of the last 7 that they've picked up here in this little stretch. However, it's getting a little bit tougher because now they have to face off against a Twins team who's been rolling themselves. 7 of their last 10 that they've grabbed. They're 11 games over 500. So you could argue that towards the back end of this little trip here, this is the biggest test yet for the Astros. How do you see game 1 here shaking out?
Yeah, the Astros have been on a bit of a roll, but in my opinion, that's going to come crashing down fairly soon. Mainly because they face a Twins team who's been crushing the ball just like the Astros have been. As a matter of fact, I have my own rankings that I've been using since I was a scout, and I kind of mixed together current form together with season form and a bunch of algorithms. I have the Astros hitting number 2 in all of Major League Baseball, while I have the Twins hitting 7th. So both teams pretty much crushing it right now. And bullpens, both teams fairly high. I have the Astros ranked 11, while I have the Twins ranked 4 with bullpens. But where I think this game will be decided is in the starting pitching. We've got Dubin going for the Astros. Not a great pitcher at all. As a matter of fact, he hasn't made enough starts, hasn't pitched enough innings to log into my database, so I can't really rank him. But his whip is over 1.5, and against a Twins team that's just been crushing it, I don't think that's going to cut it. So if we look at the other side, Pablo Lopez has a lot of experience against these Astros. He's got 56 at-bats under his belt in his career, and he's held them to a 585 OPS against. Since I was a scout, I like to use OPS against as a kind of a meter, a measuring stick, if you will, as to how good this pitcher holds the other team down. And I use about 750 as my medium line, and anything under that, he's pretty good. Anything above that, he's not so good. And 585 is a great OPS against. Batting average 250, not so great. He's only allowed 1 home run and 56 at-bats against. So I think the only place where the Astros have an advantage here is the hitting, and I think Pablo Lopez will be able to neutralize that a little bit today. So I think the Twins almost made my card, didn't quite make my card, but I think the Twins have quite a bit of an advantage in this one, and I think they're justified as a big favorite in this one.
Twins just missing the bill for our man Tokyo Brandon. Hop below in the comments and let us know how you're looking to bet that one. We already got the chat lining up, dropping some plays and some thoughts. So we'll touch upon some of these games that they want to hit on. Shout out to the chat, though. Have Cash, Smoking Tree, Eric D, Richard Lockhart. We appreciate you guys hopping in there. Boss 429 joining us as well. While you're hanging out, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss when we're going live here. If you want to get notified, hit that little bell as well. Bryan, one of the games that's coming up here is this Boston and New York Yankees game. I'm sure folks want your thoughts because if they go over to WagerTalk.com and check out the leaderboard, Bryan has been seeing it well, folks. So I'm excited that we have him heading on in here to the weekend. As far as this game is concerned, though, Bryan, there are some scattered showers we probably want to keep an eye on, maybe a delay. They should get the game, and that shouldn't be a problem. But just as far as start time goes, maybe keep your eye on that one. But as far as, take the weather out of it, man, this Yankees team could use a slump buster in the worst way. 4-13 on this little slide that they have been on. What do you think going up against this Boston team? It's funny, they met just a few weeks ago, and the Yankees came into that series with quite a different outlook on how their recent form has been. You think they can right the ship here as they're taking on Boston?
It's funny that you mentioned how hot we've been. Well, unfortunately, we've been on the Yankees for all these 3 games in that last series.
The one thorn in your side, yeah.
Yeah. The one team, it was the Toronto Blue Jays last time we got hot, and this time it's the New York Yankees. But still, the Yankees are the better team here than Boston. They're starting to get it together a little bit. The closer's back. The Sox came in as the hotter team, having won 7-10. The Yanks are on a 2-8 slump, but nothing wakes up these Yankees bats better than taking on their arch rivals. And on the year, the Yankees have a 117 WRC plus, while Boston sits at 103. The Boston 103 is probably more of the surprise when you take a look at these offenses, because Boston didn't expect to have a very good year, but the pitching staff's been terrific. But the 103 on the WRC plus is pretty impressive. But as I pointed out, the 117 WRC plus for the Yankees. Now, obviously, you don't have Stanton there. That he's having a hell of a season, but he's injured now, and he'll still be out for a few more weeks. But that's a pretty big advantage for the host here from a hitting standpoint. We also see a nice price to fade Tanner Houck after a hell of a run of good pitching. I've got him on a couple of my fantasy teams. He's been terrific this year, but we're starting to see some blemishes here from Houck. While his strikeout to walk percentage is 19.6, which is very good, see quite a bit of blue on his Savant page, and that's not something you usually see from a guy with a 2.67 ERA and a 1.02 WHIP. So we're trying to get ahead of this with fading him. Looking under the hood, we see he has only a 20th percentile in average exit velocity, as well as 14th percentile in hard hit rate. So he has been getting hit pretty well. He's only in the 15th in extension. An extension means that he's farther away from home plate, which gives the hitters more of a chance to adjust to his off-speed pitches. So with the Yankees coming in after losing 3 straight in this building, we can see them being very motivated here against our arch rival. And because they have lost lately, we're getting a pretty good price here to fade Houck. And that's what we want to do. We want to play these games as if it's the stock market. Bet on teams and players who are below the market now that we think is going to get better. And we want to fade those players and teams that have been playing over their heads. And that's definitely Boston right now. So give us the Yankees here, and I think it's a good price. And hopefully we break that 3-game losing streak here on the Yankees. I got enough reasons to hate the Yankees being from Cleveland to they come and put them on my list that I can't play them anymore. So let's get that win for the Yankees tonight.
So it's a legacy play here for the Yankees to not get added to Bryan Leonard's do not bet list. You don't want to go on that list, but I love it because Bryan showing that in true, if you're a contrarian bettor, so to speak, it doesn't always mean finding plus money prices. There's also, hey, sometimes, and at that price, some people might turn their nose up right away. No, they're on a horrible slump. Bryan laying out the case for why the Yankees might be the side to back tonight. You can check him out on Twitter, B Leonard Sports. You can check him out over at wagertalkwt.buzz/BL. Guys, TB, you know how whenever you go on WagerTalk today, and Prez is always trying to roast you up on the fits. By the way, I love the fits that you're rocking. You never know when you hop on here on air what the response will be, because I'm getting a little grief in the chat from rocking the crew neck here this morning. It's a little chilly, so I went with the crew neck. Eric D saying, hey, Dan's looking like he's going to church after this. I said, what, you go to church in a crew neck? He said, I go in a tuxedo t-shirt, so formal but like the party. Tyler saying Dan's heading to the country club after the show. Yeah, I don't think they would allow me at the country club for some reasons. But TB, you're not alone. Yeah,
Yep.
Throw the glasses on. Block out the haters. If I had mine, I would throw them as well. But I think more so it's the jealousy when you and I come on rocking some different looks here. One thing I wanted to touch upon you on the diamond outside of fashion advice, which feel free to give that as well. We had our man Smoking Tree, a team that you've had a great read on simply, because number one, you know your baseball, but you spent some time in Arizona, has been the D-backs. The team total for the D-backs was the look for our man Smoking Tree, going over it against the Padres. Padres starting an 8-game homestand here. Did anything stand out to you in this one? And any thoughts on that team total going over for this Arizona side?
Not so sure about that. The Diamondbacks are hitting, and they have been hitting in the top 10 for quite a majority of the season, but I do like how the Padres bullpen has been performing, but I don't like how their starter has been performing. So you got one. I like to check boxes when I'm doing totals, and all boxes but one are checked in that one. So I would look somewhere else to put my money, but certainly has a chance to get there. Certainly has a chance. Not on my card. Not going to make mine, but just because I like the Padres bullpen, and I don't like Vasquez is going today for them, right? Yeah. Don't like Vasquez at all. And Diamondbacks should be able to get some runs here, but it depends on how early they take him out and put their bullpen in, because I do like the Padre bullpen, so I would stay away from that.
Yeah, and Bryan, talk about teams who have gone on to the do not bet list. San Diego was in that territory for me, and then they just absolutely started rolling. 11-3 in their last 14 outings. Now they're 5 games over 500, so this could probably be a series where maybe they're circling saying, hey, let's add some more distance between us and some of these other ball clubs, as well as Arizona here is coming into town. But as Bryan kind of pointed out, Randy Vasquez going on to the mound. It's not like he's been all that stellar this season. So maybe they do have to rely on that bullpen a little bit more. How do you see this game shaking up? Because I think maybe that's probably why Smoking Tree was looking towards the team total over, simply because you look at Vasquez, you look at his earned runs, and that was the simple play for him there. What are you thinking?
This is going to be my best bet on the show today. Unfortunately, I'm in disagreement with him a little bit here. Slade Ciccone takes the hill tonight in San Diego, hoping to turn around a poor start to the season. He enters with a 5.81 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. And when looking at his StatCast numbers, we see that by far the best thing he does is limit walks. He's in the 92nd percentile in bases on balls percentage, which is fine, which is great. Keeping batters from gaining free bases is great for a young pitcher. But unfortunately, that means he's been in the strike zone too much, throwing too many strikes. You see a lot of this out of young guys coming into the major leagues. They're either too timid or they're come in just balls blazing, and they realize they can't get the hitters out the same way in the majors as you can in the minors. And this has been going on since the COVID shutdown, really. That year without real baseball in the minors really made a change and put them behind, which is why the rookie hurlers have had such troubles this season. I do like lefties when they're a rookie, but other than that, I usually try to fade the right-handers. But that's what's going on. The Padres send Randy Vasquez to the hill, and he struggled as well, no doubt about it. But he was a very good pitcher last year. And I expect better results in his future. He had a 2.87 ERA, 1.27 WHIP in his rookie season. And I do a lot of preseason reading because I play fantasy baseball. And the Padres really liked him. They thought he was going to be a mainstay of this rotation. So the management talked very highly of him coming into the year. They still believe in him. I think we're going to see something better out of Vasquez in the future. This is one of those guys that his numbers are down, and we could take advantage of that because I think later on in the season, when he's pitching better, we'll never see this line in this range that we'll see today. San Diego has the fourth highest WRC plus in the league, and we prefer their hitting here, which squarely puts us on the Padres. Arizona's gotten, they got one of their outfielders back yesterday. That was nice to see. But I like the San Diego team. They've been somebody who I thought was going to take a step back this year. They're proving me wrong, and they've been very tough at home this year.
See, look at that, guys. We take one day off, a couple people chirp the crew neck, and I cue Bryan up to give his best bet 15 minutes into the show. That's what happens after we take a day off for Independence Day. But that also is a reason why you want to make sure that you're tuning in live here and you have those notifications on, because you never know when the host is going to queue up the guys to give their best bet. San Diego on the money line. Bryan saying it's worthy of his free best bet play today. If you want to see his true best bets as well, check him out over at WagerTalk.com. That's the free play for our man Bryan. Still got plenty of games to get to, including a question over on TikTok. That's right. We're live over on TikTok, X, Instagram, whatever social you want to see us on. We'll find a way to be there. Matt was checking in over on the TikTok and asking us this Mets game. Mets and Pittsburgh. I mean, you knew we were going to talk about this game because Skeens is on the mound. It is contractually obligated if you're a baseball fan or a host of a baseball show here that you bring up a game that Skeens is pitching in. It's Mets and the Pirates. It's Severino who's going to be opposing him. And TB, if you think of just how Paul Skeens has been here throughout these starts that he's had since we've seen him in action out of LSU, he's been bet on, sure, as the pitcher, but the team has not been bet on. So if you look at this price and say, we're getting a great discount, look at the pitchers on the mound, the back end has let Paul down quite a few times this season. How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, this is a tough one because you've got good against bad, bad against good, and it's kind of like a stalemate as far as I see, because the Mets have been absolutely crushing the ball hitting wise. I have them ranked 4 out of 30 teams, where I have the Pirates ranked 25th out of 30 teams. So the Pirates are not hitting the ball very well, but starting pitchers, I rank my starting pitchers on a curve of 30. So I have about 250 starting pitchers in my database, but I curve them to 30 so I can compare them to the bullpens and the lineups. And on a curve of 30, I have Severino ranked 20th, and I have Skeens ranked 7. So we got strong starting pitching against the tough lineup, and we got weak starting pitching against the weak lineup. So it's kind of a stalemate there. Bullpen-wise, the Mets bullpen has been absolutely horrific in the last 30 days, last 10 days, however you want to look at it. I have them ranked 28 out of 30, where I have Pittsburgh ranked 14. So rather than a side here, there's an interesting stat. Severino in a prop bet, I think Skeen's strikeout prop is 7.5, and I project him right around 7.3. So yep. I never want to bet a Skeens under strikeouts. Severino, not really a strikeout pitcher. I think he's only striking out 5 per 9. But outs recorded, Severino has finished 6 innings in almost all of his starts this year. So if I was going to look at something, it would be the over 17.5 outs recorded. So 18 outs is 6 innings. So basically the bet is, will he or will he not finish 6 innings? I think Luis Severino has a good chance of finishing 6 innings in this one against a really putrid lineup that Pittsburgh's putting out there. I did look at his history against this lineup, and it's not very good, so it's not a client play for me. But if I was going to bet something in this game, that's probably where I would go.
G Hurt asking, what's the number on looking at the first 5 in this game? I'm seeing anywhere from 145 to up to 150 if you want to back Pittsburgh in the first 5 of that one. Bri, for you, and TB kind of touched upon it there as far as looking maybe outside of just ISOing in on Skeens. Dare I say Severino, when he faces the Pittsburgh Pirates, has been Skeens-esque. I think he's 3-0. Just over a half, 0.53 ERA. And if you just look at the last time they faced off, it was back in April. 6 innings, just 1 run, and that run was unearned. So it's setting up to maybe look like a little bit of a pitcher's duel here in this one. You agree with that?
I do, and the lines are looking that way too. We're looking at pretty much the 8s. We're down to like a minus 118. So 7.5 are basically what we're looking at. I understand that. Severino is a guy who's been injured the last couple of years and wasn't the same pitcher, but now he's starting to come back. And I agree that I think he's going to go pretty long in this game. The Pirates offense isn't going to scare anybody, and he's a veteran pitcher. And as you mentioned, he's done well against them. I've watched him pitch a lot lately, and while he doesn't strike out like the opposite, like he used to be a dominant pitcher. We see a lot of these veterans this year. Verlander's the same way. The last couple of years, he's taken some speed off the ball a little bit in order to last longer in the games, and it's working for Severino. He's having a nice season, and he's going to be a free agent again at the end of the year. So every start for him is very important. I never seem to be on the skiing side because I'm being priced out just about every time. Yep. But it's somewhat of a fair line today compared to what we normally see out of them. But I would prefer a lower scoring game here. So maybe the Severino to last longer from an out standpoint is somewhere you can go. I don't usually play props, but that one makes a lot of sense to me. Or team totals under, at least in the first half. Obviously both teams without their starting closer still. Pittsburgh's injured and the Mets is still on suspension. But I've been pretty impressed by the Mets bullpen. I like the way it sets up later on in the game. So maybe Pittsburgh team total under would probably be the way I would go here.
For team total under, it all kind of shapes up nicely for what seems like the chat over on YouTube's absolute favorite play. Everyone is riding on the first 5 under 4.5. There's some 4s out there as well. So the chat has decided that is their best bet in this game. Hop below in the comments and let us know wherever you're tuning in on where you think your best bet is. Under 4.5 in the first 5. You really think it's a pitcher's duel? Seems too easy. That's sitting around minus 140 for what it's worth. So you might lose that half point sooner rather than later. Guys, we have a question here, and this is the early game. It's the great thing that we're going here a little bit earlier so folks can still get to this one. The lone on the slate, that's the afternoon start. It's the Angels and the Cubs. I feel like DT plus the points is bringing up the Cubs simply so we can talk about how they just absolutely rolled my Phils yesterday. But we'll gloss over that. The question for you guys, he says, I realize the breeze is out at Wrigley. However, last 10 days or so, starting around June 23rd, Angels 70 WRC plus versus left-handed pitchers. Cubs, unreliable lineup, have me on the first half under 5. First half, so the first 5 going under the 5, Chicago and Los Angeles after Chicago's coming off a 10-win outing. I mean, that's got some contrarian written all over it. Diving into those stats, Brian, what do you think about his first 5 under Chicago and LA?
Yeah, as the day goes on, it's supposed to be blowing out harder. I believe it starts at about 11 and it goes up to like 16. So it's going out pretty hefty out there, and usually it's something you try to avoid. Rarely do we see a total of 9.5 when the wind is blowing out there. That is a little bit of a concern. Normally you're seeing 11s. We've seen 12s in the past. Steele's a very good pitcher, but is he still winless on the season? He just has not had any luck whatsoever. That said, the line's a little too high here. I had the Cubs yesterday as one of my plays, and I thought they were going to go down again. They've been playing lifeless. The one game, I don't think that's going to change much here. Canning is a guy for the Angels who is if you're looking at a chart, he's either way to the left or way to the right. There's not a lot of consistency out of Canning, which makes it hard to handicap him, but also makes him a good underdog because he does come up with those really good games sometimes at a good price. We're seeing upwards of 160 here, 161 on the dog for the Angels. I don't have anything on the game. I just think the Cubs are a little bit overpriced here. It's all going to balance out eventually for Steele. But I think a little bit of value here on the Angels, but not enough for me to get involved.
Chevale over on TikTok asking, hey, what's your thoughts on the Padres? You're just joining a little bit late because Bryan was breaking down how he loves the Padres on the money line. So you can rewind there a little bit if you want some thoughts on that. We'll circle back to it in the best bet segment. But TB, still on this LA and Chicago game. Any thoughts on that one? And then G Hurt, don't worry. We'll be talking Blue Jays, Mariners coming up here in just a few. And we'll also touch upon the Detroit Tigers for our man Kyle Bowling. But as far as this one's confused, what do you or concerned? What are you thinking in this one, Bryan or TB?
Now, remember, guys, we're sports bettors, so the difference between sports betting and blackjack is in blackjack you have to play the hand you're dealt, but in sports betting you can choose your hand. You don't have to bet every game that you like. The point is to make money, not to entertain yourself. But regarding this game, I totally agree with Bryan. This is another like stuck in the mud kind of games for me. We have good against bad. You know, the Cubs' horrific lineup going against the worst pitcher, and the better lineup for the Angels going against a really good pitcher. And both bullpens performing quite well in the last 7 to 10 days. They're both ranked 10 out of 30. So yeah, I would say under in this one, if anything. I don't really buy into the wind concept, whether it goes out or in. I think that's more of like a Groundhog Day kind of farce kind of thing. But, you know, there's only going to be 1 or 2 home runs in a game, maybe 1 or 2 home runs in a game. And if one of them is wind helped, probably would have been a home run anyway. So I don't really buy into the wind thing, but yeah, I would say under here, if anything. It's not on my card, but yeah, I agree with Bryan on that.
And that is Tokyo Brandon. WT.buzz/TB is how to find him. Number 1 in MLB profit this season. Number 1 in all sports profit this season. There's a battle up on the leaderboard between him and our man Scott Rickenbach, and they are just going back and forth. And TB having the upper hand here today. Both these guys been seeing it well, though. So, folks, if you never checked anyone out over at WagerTalk.com, you love baseball betting. These are 2 of the best guys. You can check them out over at their pages. G Hurt saying, Dan, hey, Dan, I need that Blue Jays Mariners info. You want it, you need it, you got it here. That's what First Pitch is all about. So any way you want it, any way you need it, that's the way you got it. Toronto and Seattle. TV, I'm going to throw it back. Yeah, timely references. That's what happens when you're in the crew neck. But TV, I'll tell you what, the smudging or the cleansing, whatever it was that JP Crawford wanted to get done in the clubhouse for the Mariners. It worked, man. The offense finally came alive. You think that's going to continue here as they're hosting Toronto? What are you thinking in this one?
In one word, no. Because we have 2.
Do it for you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I lost that game yesterday. No, actually I won that game. I had the first 5 under. Sorry.
Do a cleansing.
Sorry. Yeah. I had the first 5 under, which actually cashed. And I also had the Orioles plus a half run in the first 5. It was kind of an alt line. I won that as well. But today's matchup is Gausman and Castillo. And these are 2 pitchers who get a lot of credit, but don't put up the numbers to back up the credit they're getting. They used to be, I'd say in 2020 to 2021, these are 2 of the best pitchers out there. But this season, not quite cutting it. They're not really pitching to their reputations. I have both of them ranked 15 out of 30 on a curve of all starting pitchers. So they're extremely mediocre pitchers going today. And the big difference I see in this game is the bullpen, because Seattle's bullpen is really good. I have them ranked 5th, where I have Toronto ranked 22 bullpen wise. Lineups, Toronto's got a slight advantage. They're hitting right on the mediocre Mendoza line of 15 out of 30 teams, where it's ranked dead last, 30 out of 30 teams. They're hitting worse than the White Sox right now. So, yeah, the next thing I would look at is how starting pitchers perform against the team they're going against today. And it looks like Gaussman has, let's take a look. Sorry, this is great for live TV. Looks like Gaussman has a 580 OPS against, where Castillo has a little worse than that. 580 OPS against is unbelievably good. But that's when Gaussman was a good pitcher, and he's not exactly a good pitcher this season. Castillo has a similar 500 OPS against in his career. Neither pitcher is really pitching as good as they used to. So again, stuck in the mud game for me here. If anything, I would favor Toronto in the first 5. I would go with Toronto first 5 here. But given Castillo's really good numbers against these batters in his history, yeah, I don't know if I'd put actual money on that, but if I had to lean one way or the other, I'd say Toronto with their lineup should be able to score a run and be on top after 5 innings here.
Bryan, any feelings for you as far as this game is concerned? 9:40 Eastern time start, so plenty of time to get after this one. Gaussman and Castillo, any thoughts to add to what TB was dropping there?
Yeah, I do, but I'm going to be disappointing here because this is going to be one of the games I'm discussing on Wager Talk today in a half an hour. So if you want to tune in to Wager Talk today and get my opinion on this game, I hate to be that kind of guy, but I gotta play team. I gotta play team Wager Talk here.
This is what I love, Bryan, because it's an absolute plug for hanging around here. 30 minutes from now, Wager Talk today starts, and you're going to get a litany of different sports. We go baseball heavy here. Obviously, it is first pitch, but Bryan going to be on that show with the gentleman coming up here in just a half hour away. So you want some thoughts on that game? TB gave you plenty of them. Does Bryan agree? You'll find out on Wager Talk today. So stick around and check that out, and make sure that you hit us with the follow if you're joining us on TikTok, X, or Instagram. If you're stumbling upon us here on YouTube Shorts on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that little bell too. We'll let you know when we go live here. Uglass, or maybe it's ugly ass, not sure, but they're over on TikTok. You know, we love these usernames over there, gentlemen. And they finally brought up, now I can talk about the fact that Aaron Nola getting a road start. Max Fried, a little rivalry action at 7:20 Eastern. We'll touch upon this one, the Bravos and the Phils. Phils won the series but lost the final game. Now they face off against the Braves, and this was one that came up in the chat over on YouTube as well, saying this price, man, we're getting plus money. Aaron Nola on the mound, Philadelphia Phillies. It's a no-brainer. Oh, man. Bryan, I feel like this is a kind of game, and it's crazy for me to be saying, if I'm playing this game, I might be laying. And I think I like the Braves here simply because, sure, the Phils got rolled there a little bit. People love them in the bounce back spot. What are you thinking about this one, Bryan?
Well, the problem with Fried is he's been a great pitcher when he's healthy. When he's not, he's not in the lineup, and that's what you get a lot of times. So you do want to play Fried when you get a chance, but he's also going against Aaron Nola in this one. And Aaron Nola has been a guy that stays under the radar, as you know, in Philadelphia. He doesn't have to be the number one starter, but he's very good. But I've been disappointed with the Braves hitting this year, and they have not made the changes, at least as of yet. We still got until the end of the month here for the trade deadline. That is a concern with Atlanta because they've got some guys in that lineup that for a team who is contending to win it all and entered the season intending to win it all, sure, you lost your best starting pitcher. Sure, you lost your best hitter. maybe the best starting pitcher and best hitter in Major League Baseball. But this is still a team that has playoff experience, and they're going to want to get to the playoffs. They just haven't made enough moves. I do hope they make some moves, but until they do, it's tough to back them in this price range here. So I'd prefer the Philadelphia side if I was playing this one.
Yeah, and again, like that's what the chat's saying to me. They're like my man Eric D saying, Dan, don't do it. Phillies plus money. This is an auto bet. I feel like that's kind of what keeps me off of it and maybe crosses it off of my list. It just seems like this price is just couldn't be more wrong heading into this one. What do you think about this one, TB? And when Bryan was setting the game up, I thought he was about to be like, the disappointing thing is I'm talking about this game on WagerTalk today, but no, he did get the breakdown there for us. TB, what are you thinking about my Phils here today? Is that plus money, free money? What do we think?
You're not homering today with your Phillies, huh, Dan?
I know. Anyway. Not today. I'm an Aaron Nola hater. I don't know why. I think it's because I was always a Wheeler guy, and people were telling me, no, Nola's the true ace. So I've been vindicated in that at least. But I feel like I guess I can't let go of the fact that I was like, I was always right. So maybe I'm just a Nola hater. Maybe the chat's right.
I don't know who's taking Nola over Wheeler. Wheeler's a top 3 MLB pitcher. He's an absolute
I had to bang
stud.
that table, TB, for like years. When I was doing sports talk radio in Philly, I was like, you guys are wrong. I'm telling you, Wheeler's the guy. So yeah.
Very few pitchers better than Wheeler. Let's put it that way. So the way I break this one down, I agree with Bryan. I would take the plus money with Philly because although Atlanta has the names like Riley and Olsen, they're underperforming. I have Atlanta batting 26 out of 30 teams. And that's a combination of season form and recent form with a bunch of variables mixed in. This is my MLB scouting database. So Phillies batting 10th, both bullpens top 5. And I do have Fried ranked a little higher in pitching than Nola, but actually neither guy really performs that well against the other team. So the only big discrepancy I see here is in the hitting, and Philly has that. Philly's missing their best hitter as well. So they're missing their catcher too.
Yeah.
But I still like them. They got Turner back, and Turner's raking since he came back. So I would take Philly in this one for plus money, but I wouldn't bet my mortgage on it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when you're able to find plus money that makes sense for you in the MLB, you go and you grab it. Because, guys, we were talking on the YouTube feed here how it seems that the consensus play for them was that first 5 going under in the Pirates game. Well, the consensus play over on TikTok is the Kansas City Royals. And I'm hoping they're laying the run and a half because even in a play that I'm with you, I absolutely love. Maybe it's a parlay piece for you, but at this price, I'm not laying any money line with Kansas City here. So TikTok loving the Royals here today, TB. You agree with the love they got over there on TikTok? I mean, it's the Rockies. How is it hard not to love the play for them? Maybe Kansas City team total over, a way to attack it. What do we think?
I usually avoid games in this monkey ballpark because it's just so hard to predict. We're trying to predict the future, and the best way to predict the future is with the least variables. And this park is the most variables in all of MLB. It's just a clown show. I don't watch games played in this park. I don't cap games played in this park, and it's just a monkey show. I don't like this. I don't like any games played here. But Kansas City's a little overrated because Colorado's actually hitting a little better than Kansas City right now. Kansas City has the better starter. Both bullpens are horrific. So not horrific, but bottom 10 in Major League Baseball. So only big discrepancy here is starting pitching. So Kansas City would be the only way, but I wouldn't lay a big number. Colorado is a really good home team, although the record doesn't show it. But if you historically look back at all of their series at home, they almost always win the first game. of a series at home. This might not be the first game. Is this the first game in the series? If it is, I definitely would not go with Kansas City here because Colorado is a surprisingly tough team to beat when they're in Colorado.
What about you, Bryan? Yeah, you just cross it off when you see Coors Field on the list, unless you want to bet an over. I mean, that's maybe the way to go in the quote monkey ballpark for our man Tokyo Brandon. What do you think about this matchup here?
I didn't know if he was saying funky or monkey, but either way, it's a different ballpark. It's a lot of fun if you go see a game
for
there.
Sure.
But, I had Colorado yesterday and was one of my winners on a 4-2 day at plus 125. I think I got them. I like to play Colorado at home. At home, there's plenty of advantages to play Colorado. On the road, plenty of advantages to not play Colorado. That said, I prefer the Kansas City side in this one. Cole Reagan's clearly the superior pitcher here, but I got to tell you, nobody pitches better in this building on a consistent basis than Kyle Freeland. The guy's been there for a few years now, and you know what you're going to get out of Freeland. So, based on Reagan's, what I think Reagan's going to do here against a poor offense, and actually both teams have poor offenses, I would step out and possibly play the under here. I think both pitchers, lefties, number one, to get that advantage. Players don't see lefties as often, maybe 20% as opposed to righties, 25%. So that's to their advantage. And Freeland's pitched well here. Maybe the under here is the way to go, under 10.5.
By the way, there's a Japanese band. There's a Japanese band called Funky Monkey Babies. Just for a little trivia out there. Funky Monkey Babies.
Well, I do like Baby Metal is a Japanese band, heavy metal band. Baby Metal. I've seen them before.
They actually did some. They did some collaboration with Rob Halford and Kiss. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, TB. I mean, it sounds like the funky monkey metal, whatever. They should be the in park. You know how like some of these parks have like the mariachi bands. Like get them to Coors Field. You need to make that deal happen. If anyone can make the deal happen, Funky Monkey Babies there at the Funky Monkey Baby Field of Coors Field.
Absolutely.
That's the best. That's the true best bet. That's the true best bet. Yes, I'll wear the crew neck. I'll even wear the polo shirt. I'll tie it around. I'll really douche it up. I'll really douche it up. Do the tied ascot and everything.
Slightly off topic, but we don't do fireworks on 4th of July in Japan. But I was watching a live stream of LA fireworks across the whole city, and it was 68 degrees in LA. I was like, holy cow. It must be pretty chilly there.
That's what I'm saying. So, hey, why do you think I'm wearing the crew neck?
I got you.
I'm not sure that was actually fireworks. I think that's a normal night in LA.
This is Rodney King.
That's just what we call the nice gunshots going over there. But guys, question from over on Instagram, and I think it's a great one, especially for you guys who cap these whole lineups from the top to the bottom. Bennettsville 57 on Instagram asking us, who is the best bullpen in the majors? A great question there. And I think, obviously you can just go by numbers alone to really decide that. But, what really adds up the good bullpen for you is getting the win at the end of the day, getting the strikeouts, because there's a couple different ways that you could tackle this one. But for you, TB, best bullpen in the majors, who would you stamp that on? Because I think it's easier to find a horrible bullpen than decide who you think is the best, to be honest.
Yes, and the rankings change day by day because the way I rank bullpens is very current form is a huge part of it, especially last 7 days, because bullpen use, as you know, day by day, different guys come in and out. So I want to get all the guys in the bullpen. I use a lot of statistics, including XFIP, K per 9, a lot of things, ground ball rate, things like that. And I put them, I weight each statistic, and then I go past 7 days and past 10 days, and I mix them together. So currently I have Atlanta as having the best bullpen right now in MLB, and I have the Minnesota Twins having the next best bullpen, and then after that I have Seattle. So those are my 1, 2, 3 right now in MLB, but it changes daily. changes daily.
Yep. 1,000%. And then it also changes when you start thinking about usage. A great bullpen could become a worn out bullpen real quick if you don't get some strong starting pitching as well.
Yeah.
So it is a fluid answer that you can't just tape it up there and say, these are the best three. But as far as the top three, Bry, that he laid out there, what do you think about that? Who would you say, as it stands here heading into this weekend set? Because by Monday, this could be a completely different discussion that we're having. Best bullpen in the majors for you heading into this weekend?
I think it's clear who the best bullpen in baseball is, and that's Cleveland Guardians. They've got the best ERA. They've got all the best numbers. Every guy in that bullpen does his job. Keep in mind, Cleveland's starting rotation has three guys in it with ERAs over 5, yet they've got the second best record in baseball. That bullpen has been terrific all season long. The closer has got an ERA under 1. Everybody in that Cleveland bullpen's been great all season long. The other bullpens you mentioned are all very good, no doubt about it. But to me, the Cleveland bullpen, because I watch every Guardians game, and once it gets to the 6th inning, if Cleveland is winning, Cleveland's going to win that game.
Yeah,
they do have the best closer for sure.
Well, and if you just think about how their performance has been over expectation this year, the hugest part of that equation is what they're getting out of that back end of the bullpen. That is for damn sure. And just like TB said, when the closer comes up, you're not feeling like you're going to have some late inning runs coming back for you. Bry, since you gave out the best bet earlier, that was my fault. Last thing that we'll touch upon before TB gives his, you touched upon that Cleveland bullpen. They're going against San Francisco today. We had a question about that over on the TikTok feed as far as how you see this game shaking out. I think we're going to have Bybee on the mound here for Cleveland and San Francisco. They finally named a starter. It's going to be the lefty Miller for them. So any quick thoughts on this one before we hear what Tokyo Brandon's worked up for his best bet?
I like to play San Francisco as an underdog. It looks like it's probably going to be a bullpen game here for him. But Tanner Bybee has been so good this baseball season. And Cleveland's been so good at home. As much as I like San Francisco, I can't get there. I'd have to pass this one.
All right, TB, let me hear your thoughts. It is officially Patrick Corbin Day, man. It's officially Patrick Corbin Day. We absolutely love it, but it sounds like, as far as your best bet is concerned here in the Nats and the Cards game, might not be what you think when you think Patrick Corbin Day. So, TB, let folks know what you have over at WagerTalk.com and let us know what the best bet is here for today.
Today, I have a 4% best bet in Major League Baseball that I love. It's up at my page, Tokyo Brandon, under experts on WagerTalk.com. Love the play. I also have a Mexican baseball play out. And I also have a Japanese baseball play out for later in the evening. But my 4% MLB is the feature play for today, which you can get at WagerTalk.com. Number 1 MLB profit capper in 2024. Number 1 all sports profit, kind of neck and neck with Scott there, but I'm going to have to kick his butt eventually. But I've been number 1 all sports profit 3 of the last 4 years since I joined WagerTalk. So going well, and I pretty much only do baseball. So get my 4% play at WagerTalk.com. So my best bet, Patrick Corbin. There are several pitchers in Major League Baseball that do not belong in Major League Baseball. Kenta Maeda is one of them. Patrick Corbin is another one of them. He's horrific. He's terrible. And I don't know how he keeps his job. But as bad as he is, with his 5.49 ERA and his 1.53 WHIP, and his 1-win, 8-loss record, one thing you have to say about him is he goes deep into games. He has finished 5 innings in 11 straight starts. And he actually gets fairly decent amount of strikeouts in those starts. So I'm looking at his strikeout prop today, and it was 3.5. Seems very low to me. I project him at 4.8 strikeouts in this game. And he actually has four or more strikeouts in 4 straight starts. So I think his strikeout prop is a little low. Washington's an underdog here, obviously, because he's a terrible pitcher. And against the Cardinals in his career, he has a strikeout rate. He actually has an average strikeout per start of 4.8 as well. So I think over 3.5 strikeouts is a good play here. Just missed my card, but I do have it up as a free play here. Patrick Corbin over 3.5 strikeouts, even though he is a horrific, terrible, awful, crappy pitcher. He does go deep into games. Give him credit for that.
That's a funky monkey play if I've ever heard it. Patrick Corbin going over the strikeouts there.
Well, Bryan will tell you that Bryan will tell you when you cap baseball, sometimes going against the grain is the best way to get a win, and this is definitely against the grain because Sonny Gray is a great pitcher and Patrick Corbin is a horrific pitcher. So, going against the grain today.
And speaking against Bry and going against the grain, I would be remiss if I didn't mention before we signed off here that something rare is happening tonight, and that's that Bryan Leonard has a 5%er in MLB locked and loaded over at his page. WT.buzz/BL will get you there quick. The past 3 days, Brian's been rolling. 7, that's not long enough for you. How about the last 30 days? He has been seeing it well. He's on a 23-6-1 run on plays that are rated over 3%. It's only the second 5%er that Bryan has had locked and loaded this year in MLB. So go and grab that now. Go and check that out. And Bryan is going to be with you batting cleanup on Wager Talk today, just about under 45 minutes from now, since we're running a little bit late here. So we'll get you out of here. Bryan's best bet here on the show. He was looking towards the San Diego Padres. Tokyo Brandon looking at Patrick Corbin over the 3.5 Ks. If you liked the video, hit that like button on the way out. If you haven't already, over on TikTok, Instagram, X, hit that follow button. And our old faithful on YouTube, you know we love you. Hit that subscribe button and that little bell as well. Have a terrific weekend, everybody. Don't worry. Also, Wager Talk today coming your way right after we're done here. But then on Saturday, Wager Talk last call. Joe Ranieri back in the hosting chair, getting you some weekend winners. So more reasons than ever to join that Wager Talk family. Best of luck, everyone. We will see you here on First Pitch, locked and loaded, 11 a.m. Eastern on Monday. Until then, best of luck and have a terrific weekend, everyone.